Group or family therapy is a completely different animal than individual one-on-one therapy because you're managing a whole bunch of different personality types at the same time. Right away, you can see the dynamics by where does everyone sit, and for this office, you have to make sure beforehand, if you're seeing a group of 4, that you have space for 4 people to be able to sit. I don't like the fact that Pugsley is very happily sitting on the floor, but he shouldn't have to. Though if someone chooses to sit on the floor instead, that's completely fine also, because everyone should decide what their comfort level is. I also let people know that they can move their chairs around or reorganize as they feel comfortable. And you can also tell a lot by the manner in which they're sitting down. There's no one but possibly Pugsley that actually looks comfortable in the way that they're sitting. They're all there as if they're posing for a picture, but it also means that they're not comfortable in the space that they're in. Normally in a family session, especially when one of the people is actually your client, you're gonna have to explain, and it's not interesting. We have to go through all kinds of formalities that wouldn't be interesting for TV. But right away, the first thing that you go through is, do you have any questions for me? And then after they ask whatever questions they might have about what type of therapy, what are we going to be doing here, we also have to go through all of the issues of confidentiality. What is confidential, what isn't confidential, and my relationship with the client, that possibly I'm not going to share the things that happen within session with them, unless of course they want to, unless they specifically want to share it themselves. And I also share what is the purpose for this session. The first thing, instead of what you start, is like, thank you so much for coming into this room. It's really intimidating going into a room for a group therapy, especially when you're with someone else's therapist. And that means that there is a differing alignment. Most family therapy, you've seen the family, and if you've seen anyone individually, you've seen it equally, so that your alliance is spread equally among all of them. But in this case, she has an alliance with Wednesday, like hopefully she had a lot, she doesn't, but she had hopefully had an alliance with Wednesday, and then the other family is coming in. And so you want to make sure that people feel really comfortable with that space and they don't feel like they're going to be accused, because you have to remember, everyone's going to tell their story from their facet, from their belief through their fears. And so you're getting different pieces of a story, and you have to kind of piece that apart into how does this entire dynamic work.
So, who wants to start?
And you're not going to give an open-ended question like, who wants to say this? Unless you're doing it to be able to feel what the hierarchy and what the dynamics, how the system in the family works, because you can often see who's the one that feels more comfortable, who's the one that's more controlling, what are the issues, who butts heads with who. But usually I will ask a simple, straightforward question like, does anyone want to share anything? And go through each person and ask each person individually, so that, because we end up having responsibility that is diffused among all of the group members. So if you don't specifically ask someone, there may be one member of the family that chooses not to speak or feels too shy or intimidated or worried to be able to share their feelings.
Maybe we can discuss what it's like having Wednesday away from home.
You can tell that they're like, oh, it's not that bad having Wednesday away from home. They don't know really how to answer that question. I let people know that there are no wrong answers. I just want to kind of know and see the world through their eyes so I can better be able to assess how to help them. I also ask them specifically, how can I help you? What are you hoping to get out of this session? What would you like? Because my job is to be able to help other people get to what their goals are. It isn't up to me to impose my goals onto someone else. My role as a facilitator is to be able to give tools and techniques to be able to help people reach the goals that they want to reach. And that's really important in family dynamics, especially when issues of communication or trust have broken down.
For me, it's been hard not having Wednesday around. I never thought I'd miss being waterboarded so much.
I love Pugsley because he's able to share things in such an open, transparent way of his feelings of missing his sister, even though she does things that torture him. He knows that she cares for him. She didn't really respond to that.
Morticia? Gomez?
Right away, you would want to respond like, oh, that's so nice that you miss your... I would avoid the waterboarding thing and, maybe wonder if it's tongue-in-cheek or not. But let's just pretend it's tongue-in-cheek and he's just saying, I miss the way that she bothers me or teases me. You would reiterate back to the person what they said with an encouragement to be able of thanking them for being able to share with something simple like you miss having your sister around. And then you could ask Wednesday, what does it feel like to know that your brother misses you? You're using one point of conversation as a springboard to be able to go to another family member and find out their reflections, especially when someone's first gone away. That can cause a lot of abandonment and hurt.
How have you been coping?
It's been torture for us, too.
Fortunately, my brother Fester's rag fits two people.
Nothing like a good stretch to bring out the best in each other.
Querida mía.
Often people will use insightful comments or humor to be able to deflect from their actual emotions. I don't think so that this is the case for Morticia and Gomez. They're saying this quite literally, but you would want to avoid the deflection and actually go to the emotions. Oh, so you really miss her. Is this what you expected would happen? How has the dynamic changed? Ask Wednesday, how does it feel to be missed? So that she can share her feelings of or reflections on the difference in the family dynamics. The problem with this session is that she didn't actually go in with a goal at hand of it being informational or to be able to explain things or to be able to understand how the dynamics works. If you know what your goal is firsthand, then you have a direction to be able to go. You're not just having a really fun chat, which you could do with your friends or family members over some tea. Over some tea and crumpets. I think they would have tea and crumpets. It'd be like black crumpets with like a dark tea. They kind of get caught in the inappropriateness of this affection that happens between them. But it is interesting to me that they're talking about Wednesday, but the mother and father suddenly become this enmeshed, kissy, lovey-dovey thing in the middle of talking about missing their child. That's one of those moments. What are the dynamics that are actually happening in this family? Is that one of the reasons why Wednesday feels alone and like a loner? Perhaps Morticia and Gomez have such a strong love affair that they've kind of lost Wednesday in the mix of that. And maybe that's some of where her want to be alone has come from, because she's learned to depend upon herself because her parents are kind of doing their own thing.
Enough.
You have to be really careful because you're managing a group, but you have to set this to be a safe space so that everyone feels comfortable. And these are all teaching moments. So right away, perhaps when Wednesday says enough, you would actually use this to say, Wednesday, do you find that your parents are sometimes overly affectionate with each other and kind of forget that you're even there? Or you could ask Morticia and Gomez, why do they think that Wednesday reacted so strongly to them being affectionate? And help them understand that maybe it's because they were taking up too much space, or maybe she feels uncomfortable with this level of affection in public, so that they can empathize with her journey. Because that's in the end what we're trying to do with these system dynamics in a family. We're trying to help each family member be able to see and understand the others so that they can work a little better like cogs in a machine.
I think it's high time my parents faced the music.
And losing control of a group can definitely happen. It's really hard, especially when there's a lot of really strong emotions. You want this to be able to be a safe space so you can be able to share whatever you want to. And Wednesday is definitely using this opportunity to be able to share something that her parents may run away from in any other setting, which I think in this case was actually really healthy.
It seems they've been lying to me. Murderous secrets that need to be addressed.
Those charges were dropped. Your father is an innocent man.
Local sheriff doesn't seem too convinced.
Wednesday, stop.
And here you would want to know, is her issue with the fact that she doesn't know and she feels like she's been lied to and her trust issues are coming up? Or is this more of her actually wanting to understand and find out what happened in their past?
This is neither the time nor the place.
Actually, this is exactly the place.
I don't mind the therapist interrupting and saying that this is a safe place, but I dislike the manner in which she said it, because the tone was really serious, but she seems really excited that this is a great thing, that we're going to be able to find out so much. Her tone mismatches her understanding of the severity of what's happening and the feelings of the people that are there. We want people to be able to empathize with our area of our journey, but if we're telling something that's really upsetting and then our reaction is really happy, that causes a disjoint where we feel like our therapist or the person that we're speaking to doesn't understand us and doesn't get us. And right away that will make people feel defensive and shut down.
These sessions
Doctor, This does not concern you. And I refuse to debate a decades-old witch hunt with you right now.
Darling, maybe we should...
No.
There also has to be respect. Having something shared and unveiled, therapy sessions should not be a place where one person ends up feeling ambushed, because then they don't feel safe and they won't come back. And so the way that we share things has to be really careful and respectful. The problem is a lot of times why you're going to therapy is because people have a lot of animosity or anger that they haven't dealt with. And so they wait until therapy to be able to kind of unload everything, especially when there's something big to be able to deal with. You want to deal with it in small, manageable pieces so that the level of anxiety in the group doesn't grow so high that someone's going to walk out and never want to come back to therapy again.
This session is over.
Have it your way, Mother.
Wednesday?
If you refuse to tell me.
Her voice is kind of begging, not someone that feels comfortable in understanding the processes that she's dealing with, which makes you not have the same amount of faith in the therapist of the group. Yeah, sometimes people are going to get upset or angry or have to walk out. You want to make sure that everyone understands what are the rules, what are the obligations, and it's okay for anyone to leave therapy or say that it's too much right now, but you need to state all of these things or what are our agreed rules of engagement before the therapy even starts, so everyone has a comfort level. There shouldn't be yelling, there shouldn't be name calling, there should always be respect. Everyone should be able to have time to be able to listen to everyone else, and you want to make sure that there's a space for everyone to be able to say what they need to, and also not say anything if they don't want to. It's not forced upon anyone to have to share, even if I ask a direct question. It's up to you whether you want to or not.
If you refuse to tell me the truth, I'll just have to excavate it myself.
Thanks for the candy.
I sometimes will actually have food for certain specific sessions, like if we're dealing with someone that has issues with food, food phobia, social anxiety with eating food, and so food is part of the therapy session. But unless I know someone, I'm not going to have a bowl of some sort of fruit or food on the table. This was potpourri. She was not putting food on the table, but also I usually offer people a drink, a coffee, a tea, a hot chocolate, or a water, because we become really parched. One, when we're dealing with anxiety or anger or hurt, and two, talking a lot can make our voice really dry. Also for myself, because if not, I might have a coughing fit in the middle of session, and that's really embarrassing. So it's always good to have a drink close at hand.
Actually, that's potpourri. Why don't you take the bowl?
There's another interesting piece is that you don't want to have anything in your therapy office that you care so much about that you're going to be worried if it's ruined or destroyed or broken. Because if that happens in therapy and you're upset at your client because they broke something that you care a lot about, then they're going to feel really bad. You're going to have this awkward moment, and then the chances of them not returning are greatly increased. So anything that you bring into your office, know that it might be touched, looked at, or moved, and has the risk of being broken just by nature of being there. This space is not yours. This space is a place for your clients to feel at home and comfortable. So when they come into the office, it's their space. Well, it's our combined space, but you want to make sure that they feel comfortable enough to be able to interact with things. If you go into an office and it looks so perfect that it feels like a museum, many people immediately will feel uncomfortable. I definitely wouldn't have a cuckoo clock. Just one is the connotations, I think, are a little bit insulting, and two, the incessant ticking, I think, would cause a huge amount of distraction for many of the people that I'm seeing, especially those with OCD or anxiety disorders. And if you hate ads and want to check out my other videos on psychology of your favorite shows, you should try out Nebula, where you can find my newly released Vox Machina compilation video, where I go through all of your favorite Vox Machina characters, and this is found only on Nebula. And that's where you can also find my 2-hour Arcane Jinx Complete Saga compilation video, ad-free, which is good because it's 2 hours long. And Nebula is bundled in for free when you sign up with today's sponsor, CuriosityStream, at curiositystream.com/Georgia Dow, or by clicking on the link below. Right now, today, because you're watching this video, you can get CuriosityStream's holiday sale for 42% off. That's less than the price of one fancy coffee for the entire year. And that includes thousands of amazing documentaries and series like David Eagleman's What is Reality? Neurologist and best-selling author David Eagleman reveals how our brains piece together reality and how we might expand our perception of the world around us. Signing up is the best way to support educational creators directly, and it's also the best deal in streaming today. For over 42% off, CuriosityStream less than $12 a year, and with Nebula bundled in for free. Yes, free. So just click on the button on the screen or head on over to curiositystream.com/Georgia Dow. Clicking on that link really does help out my channel, so thank you. And thank you to CuriosityStream for sponsoring this video, and also thank you for your support. Those are a few of the dynamics of group or family therapy. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.